Welcome, dear viewers, to a journey back in time, far beyond kings and empires, beyond wars and borders, to a question that lies at the heart of our existence. How did we become civilized? This is the story of the beginning of human civilization. Our ancestors once lived in small groups, surviving as hunters and gatherers. For thousands of years they followed the herds, collected fruits, and moved with the seasons. Life was simple but also uncertain. There was no guarantee of food tomorrow. But around 12,000 years ago, something changed. Humans made one of the greatest discoveries in history. They learned how to farm. They planted seeds, they grew crops, and for the first time they could stay in one place. Villages were born. This moment, often called the Neolithic Revolution, was the spark that lit the fire of civilization. Farming allowed people to produce more food than they needed. That extra food meant that not everyone had to work in the fields. Some people became builders, some became potters, some became priests, and some became leaders. Human society began to specialize. It was no longer just about survival. It was about building a community. The first great civilization rose in a place known as Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Here, humans built the world's first known cities, Uruk, Ur, Babylon. Imagine walking through Uruk 5,000 years ago. The streets are alive with merchants trading grain, wool, and tools. Farmers bring their harvests into the city. Priests climb the steps of massive temples called ziggurats. And somewhere in the marketplace, a scribe presses symbols into a clay tablet, recording a deal. That was writing, the invention that allowed humans to record history, to pass on knowledge, and to shape the future. But Mesopotamia gave us more than writing. They gave us the wheel, one of the most transformative inventions of all time. They gave us laws, like the famous Code of Hammurabi, carved into stone. They built irrigation canals to control rivers, proving that humans could shape nature itself. In this cradle of civilization, human beings were no longer simply surviving, they were creating. Yet Mesopotamia was not alone. Along the mighty Nile River, another civilization was rising. Ancient Egypt. When we think of Egypt, we picture the pyramids, those gigantic monuments to power and mystery. But Egypt was more than stone tombs. The Nile gave life to the desert, flooding every year, leaving behind rich soil. With this gift, Egyptians grew crops that fed millions. They built great cities, developed mathematics, and practiced medicine that seems advanced even today. Their pharaohs were not just kings, they were gods on earth. To the Egyptian people, the order of the universe itself depended on the rule of the pharaoh, and so they built monuments that would last thousands of years to honor both the dead and the divine. Far away, in South Asia, another civilization flourished in the Indus Valley. Cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were marvels of engineering. They had straight roads, brick houses, and even advanced drainage systems that rival those of modern cities. Imagine 5,000 years ago, people living in houses with running water and well-planned streets, while much of the world still lived in huts. But here's the mystery. The people of the Indus Valley left behind no grand monuments, no pyramids, no statues of kings. Instead, their society seemed organized without clear rulers. Who led them? How did they manage such vast cities without kings or armies? Historians still do not know. The Indus Valley civilization remains one of the great puzzles of history. Meanwhile, in East Asia, along the Yellow River, Chinese civilization was taking shape. They domesticated rice and millet, and with farming came villages, then dynasties. The Shang dynasty, one of the earliest, gave us bronze tools, oracle bones, and the first examples of Chinese writing, symbols that would evolve into the characters still used today. China's dynasties built philosophies that shaped the world: Confucianism, Taoism, and later, legalism. These ideas were not just rules for living. They were blueprints for how entire civilizations could function. But what about the Americas? While Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China were rising, across the ocean, other civilizations were beginning too. In Central America, the Olmecs carved massive stone heads and developed calendars. In South America, along the coast of Peru, the Norte Chico civilization built pyramids even before the Egyptians. Human civilization was not born in one place. It was a spark that appeared independently across the globe. And then, there are the mysteries that defy simple explanation. In modern-day Turkey, a site called Göbekli Tepe stands as one of the most astonishing discoveries of archaeology. Massive stone pillars, carved with animals, arranged in circles, built more than 11,000 years ago. That is older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids. But here's the strange part. Göbekli Tepe was built before farming, before villages, before cities. Who were these people and why did they build such a temple? Did religion come before civilization? Or was civilization born from the desire to worship together? We still do not know. As civilizations grew, they began to connect. Trade routes linked Mesopotamia with the Indus Valley, Egypt with the Mediterranean, and later China with the world through the Silk Road. Civilizations did not develop in isolation. They learned from one another, shared ideas, technologies, and sometimes diseases and war. The story of civilization is also the story of human contact, of learning and borrowing, of triumph and tragedy. But let us pause here and ask, why does this matter to us today? Why should we care about Mesopotamia's clay tablets, Egypt's pyramids, or the streets of Mohenjo-daro? Because every single part of our modern world, our writing, our laws, our cities, our technology, stands on the foundation built by these first civilizations. Without their discoveries, without their courage to build, to organize, and to dream, we would not be who we are. Yet, there is also a warning in their stories. Many of these civilizations rose but also fell. The fertile soil of Mesopotamia turned to desert after centuries of overfarming. The Indus Valley cities were abandoned, perhaps due to climate change. Egypt was conquered again and again until its greatness faded. Civilizations are powerful, but they are also fragile. And in their rise and fall, we find lessons for our own future. The beginning of human civilization was not a single moment, but a process that stretched across continents and millennia. It began with a seed planted in the earth, a village on a riverbank, a temple on a hill. From those humble beginnings grew the complexity of human society. From simple huts grew empires. From spoken stories grew written histories. From survival came culture, art, science, and philosophy. So the next time you look at a city skyline or write a message on your phone or open a book, remember, all of it traces back to those first civilizations. They are not gone. They live on in us. The story of civilization is still being written, and the question is, what will our chapter say? We create amazing videos for you. You're requested to subscribe the channel and like the videos.